The issue of unskilled, by the way, did not start now. It's a crisis that was created by the apartheid state. As Comrade Nixon was saying that his father worked here, many of our relatives came to work here. So the government, in the white paper on international migration in 2017, it said people of low skill must be documented and be granted what is called SADC work visa. If you read that document, I think it's page 52, it is very key. It also recognizes that there are people who are running businesses in South Africa, renting a salon, a church, a salon, or doing a small business enterprise. And it says such individuals must be documented. Then it says, point number 3, grant the people that come on daily basis to do their shopping. Because the challenge that we had, someone will come from Maswing to go and they sell their products in Eastern Cape. When they get to the port of entry, they are given 5 days. By the time they get to the Eastern Cape, already their 5 days is up. When they go back to Zimbabwe, they are declared undesirable. So to manage that, governments through the white paper on international migration, as gazetted in 2017, say, let us grant what is called SADC cross-border visa. It is there in the white paper, right? So when all of us, which also this white paper also speaks to the border management, we have seen the deployment of guards at the border and so forth. It emanates from that white paper is gazetted in 2017. Now, then there was the rise of anti-migrants. There are other people who wanted to be the Donald Trump of South Africa. Then there were political parties, the rise of right-wing formations that began an anti-migrant sentiment, which then the loss of key metros in South Africa in the 2021 elections. Then the ANC-led government said, no, let's agree with these people, let's not renew this special permit, because our communities do not want people to have permits. We were in Diepsloot. A community of South Africans in Diepsloot. And the ENCA ran a survey in the build-up to the elections of 2021 and said, what is the problem? And South Africans, if you speak to every South African, and the majority of us, is that the issue that we are confronted with is criminality. And the challenge that we have, if a person who is undocumented commits a crime, you can't trace them. But if I'm a holder of a ZEP, I commit a crime, you are able to trace me. So the question, therefore, which I was asking in Diepsloot, in my youth channel, I interviewed the chairperson of the Diepsloot community to say, do you have problems with the renewal of ZEP? Said, no, we don't have problems. In fact, we want people to be documented so that together we fight crime. I'm a victim of crime myself. I've been held at gunpoint 3 times or 4 times. So the issue is crime committed by undocumented people. And then how do you trace a person who is undocumented when they commit a crime? So this is why I'm saying, comrades, we are trying to process this repatriation. Why are we getting to say let's repatriate people? I know I'm talking a lot. Let me move to conclusion and deal with issues that have been asked by our community to raise. What we are raising, which we have agreed that we will, assisted by the International Labour Organization, we met the Minister of Labour and Employment, and we are yet to meet again in respect to worker benefits for those that will not be able to move to other visas, so that those benefits, provident fund and other benefits should be paid to them. But the question, Mr. Deputy Director, I met the spokesperson to the minister. We had gone for an interview at ENCA. The program is called the Nations. I asked him, I said, Chief, how does a domestic worker apply for a waiver? Because the minister has been on television, no, Zimbabweans, they don't want to apply holders of ZEP. And I said to him, Chief, how does a domestic worker apply for a waiver? Because a South African can do the job of a domestic worker. How does a petrol attendant at an engine filling station apply for a waiver? How do you motivate? The spokesperson said, no, let me link you up with the people in the task team set up by the minister that is receiving this. Indeed, he did. We sent together the email. They did not respond. After 2 weeks, I went back to him. I said, Chief, they have not responded. They said, okay, thanks for reminding me. I stayed for another 2 weeks. When I went back to 2 weeks, he kept quiet. And the question, I know that the colleague I'm told is from the legal department, in the department. How does a person who works at Pick and Pay on ZEP as a packer apply for a waiver? Because there are people out there that are now exploiting these ZEP holders. They will charge the money, apply for a waiver, we charge you this money, this money. No one in that category has received any communication. And the people are busy losing out their money because they are chasing against time. So we want a deputy director to explain, to say, how does a person of low skill apply for a waiver? The second issue which they asked me to ask you is that there were emails that the Director General wrote to holders of ZEP twice. And we then encouraged members in our community, ZEP holders, to say, respond and indicate your challenges. People responded, I am Mabuto Mabena, I work as a packer, a spa, I've been in South Africa for 15 years, I can't move to another visa, how can I be assisted? Those emails are not responded to. And the question that they are asking us is to say, how do you respond to such? Because we are trying to encourage the majority of ZEP holders to comply with the directive of the cabinet of the 24th of November. The last issue, which of course does not concern the Department of Home Affairs. Comrade Nick said, all of us were opposed to sanctions. But let's not create this perception that the economy of Zimbabwe collapsed as a result of sanctions. No. Neoliberal policies, if you trace from the implementation of the Economic Structural Adjustment Program in 1991, it caused massive job losses. That's the issue. Well, of course, the sanctions must go, but they are not the issue. Even if you remove sanctions today, you are not going to remove Zimbabweans in South Africa because they will keep on flocking. There are many Zimbabweans today at what you call St. John's in Bulawayo, as I'm speaking now, and in Harare. There are many Zimbabweans, they are writing tests. Why? Because they are trying to get to the UK as healthcare workers. No one is prepared to stay in Zimbabwe. I was with a journalist last week. Something which I was raising with the minister to last night to say, look, when we talk of distortion in the labor market, is that a journalist who holds a master's degree in mass communications earns $120, which is just about above 2,000 rands. A domestic worker in South Africa earns something like 4,000 rands. So this professional, who is a holder of a master's degree, will come and work in South Africa as a domestic worker because it is far much better to be a domestic worker than practicing journalism in Zimbabwe. So right now, when I start talking, I don't stop. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening to me. Bye-bye.